York City mayor over Black New York City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams and incumbent mayor Eric Adams. Senator James Sanders says Adrienne Adams was heard by entering the race late. Two families were awarded $750,000 in a racial discrimination lawsuit against Regina Turner, the owner of a Virginia campground. Turner refused to rent to them because one of the campers was black. The families received $100,000 each for the incident and $550,000 in punitive damages. Two wildfires in western North Carolina, each over 2,000 acres, doubled in size in Polk County. Mandatory evacuations were issued, and the fires have burned over 5,200 acres so far. And legendary boxer George Foreman passed away at 76, surrounded by loved ones. A two-time heavyweight champion and gold medalist, Foreman was known for iconic matches against Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention New Orleans educators. Are you ready to transform literacy education in your school? The 2025 Literacy Leader Cohort is a 2-year program designed to empower middle and high school leaders with cutting-edge science of reading training, coaching support, expert-led workshops, and earn a $3,000 stipend. Apply by March 21st to lead the way in reshaping literacy for our city's students. Don't miss this chance to grow and make a lasting impact. Visit newschoolsneworleans.org to apply and learn more.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Orleans. Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My super producer, Naren Sanders, is also in the building. But let me first say this to y'all. My apologies, because this is when it's all me. My car. Listen, y'all, I almost didn't make it here this morning. I'm talking like literally. My car started like it normally starts. I started driving like I normally drive, and the whole car just shut down. It's one of those like push to start cars, little smart things or whatever you want to call them. But look, and it did it twice. It just literally shut down. I'm sorry, but it tells you, like, it says something on the dashboard and then it just goes down. And you have to turn the car all the way off and try to start it back up. And I did that, and it came back on, and a little bit further down the road, it did it again. And so it was a scary situation because I was on the highway. And that's not good at all. So I'm just grateful to be here talking to you right now, because the way folk drive, that could have been catastrophic for me. I don't know what that's about, but that's what happened. And I'm like, I'm texting Ira like, I hope I make it to you, but like I'm kind of grateful to be here, because, and I mean there were no other cars like coming in that instant, so I was able to turn it off and turn it right back on and turned over. But that was pretty scary. I'm telling you right now, that was pretty scary. So I don't know, and I just need to go get my car looked at, because but the question is, why is it that the moment you pay these cars off, I think anything, like you pay your cell phone off, it starts to act crazy. My cell phone is acting crazy because it doesn't have any storage, and I'm like, I'm not upgrading no phone right now, so I'm trying to hold out, and my phone it won't even let me take pictures because it's not enough storage. And so I don't know, y'all. I was in it this morning, but I'm glad I made it. Shout out to my producer for being ready when I walked in, because baby, I didn't know if I was gonna make it here. But listen, y'all, in true SG Row fashion, I voted on the 22nd, which was the last day of early voting. But early voting is over, but election day is the 29th. And it's imperative that we get to the polls, because the closer we get to the election, the more rhetoric comes out about these proposed constitutional amendments. And it's almost unfathomable to think that certain stories are happening. And I mean, with a straight face, they're telling you, misleading you, flat out lying in some instances, and just not giving you the full context of what these amendments would do in other instances. So there's an article that's out now that says backers say Louisiana's Amendment 3 will curb juvenile crime, but does it go too far? And this is authored by somebody called Joni Hess, Hess. And it literally says Demaya Robinson, a 16-year-old sophomore at Frederick Douglass High School in the Bywater, thinks local and state politicians need to do more to stop juvenile crime. But that doesn't include locking teens up in adult prisons, she said. The jails are already packed. If they're going to be charged as an adult now, we're going to have more jails, Robinson said. But some lawmakers say sending teens for more stints in adult jail would help resolve a problem that has spiraled out of control. And it's always folk, like Heather Cloud from Turkey Creek. Our priority is rehabilitation, but we must also protect families and communities, says Senator Heather Cloud, a Republican from Turkey Creek. Governor Jeff Landry and the Republican-led state legislature have now put that debate before Louisiana voters, who will head to the polls on March 29th. A week-long early voting period ended Saturday. Amendment 3, one of the 4 proposed changes to the Constitution voters will weigh this week, would allow lawmakers to change or expand the number of felony crimes for which juveniles can be tried as adults. As it stands, there are only 16 crimes that fall in that category, among them varying degrees of rape, murder, and other offenses. One of the lawmakers behind the measure, State Rep. Debbie Villio, a Republican from Kenner, said new crimes could include distribution of fentanyl, carjacking, or home invasion. By the end of 2024, there are 853 youth in custody across the state, according to the State Office of Juvenile Justice. Combined with its adult jail population, Louisiana has one of the highest incarceration rates in the United States, according to Prison Policy Initiative, a national crime justice research group. So if Louisiana already has one of the highest incarceration rates in the United States, and the goal is rehabilitation per the Turkey Creek rep, because that's what she says. If we already locking people up disproportionately to other states, yet the crime is still out of control. I'm talking to State Rep Debbie Villio from Kenner and Heather Cloud from Turkey Creek and the governor. How is it that we're going to curb crime by locking more people up? If we already lock more people up than any other state, especially when you're talking per capita. So locking folk up historically hasn't gotten us the outcomes that we wanted. But we think adding more people to the list of potential prisoners is going to somehow rehabilitate them and give us the outcome we want. That's what we're saying. And then they're talking about fentanyl, home invasion, and carjacking. And see, when you put fentanyl, carjacking, and home invasion together, why is it that my eyes go straight to carjacking? Because I guarantee you the folk who pushing this, they've done their research, right? Their data. They pull data points from certain areas and they understand what they're doing. They understand what they're doing. Why is it that we pretend like we don't understand what they're doing? That's why we need to get out and vote. I feel like New Orleans is truly not meant to be part of Louisiana. That's literally how I feel. Because as sad as it is, we know what this state is going to do. We know the temperament of this state. We know what the state is going to do. And that's the sad part. So now what we need to do is to make certain that we start to really be a community that is wrapped around its children. We need to start really educating these kids on the after part of the bad behavior. So we need to start trying to curb the behavior, because if they're targeting, because that's what it is, they're targeting children. A specific group of kids, might I add. They're targeting them. And if they're targeting them, then as a community, we should target them. But we should target them with alternatives to crime, alternatives to violence. Because if there's a plan to round them all up and dump them in adult prisons, then there should be a plan by us to not only fight against this, right? As adults, we fight against this, but as adults, we also need to be trying to provide services that target the need to think that kind of behavior is going to get you what you want, when the alternative to that is adult prison for the rest of your life, basically. And somehow Heather from Turkey Creek and Debbie right there from Kenner, they're helping to push this initiative. Because I believe they think that over in Turkey Creek, there's not really children doing the types of crimes that warrant adult incarceration. Just like the governor, when he was the attorney general, he targeted Caddo Parish, East Baton Rouge Parish, and Orleans Parish. He did that for a reason. That wasn't by happenstance. That wasn't by coincidence. He didn't just wake up and just decide, oh, those sound like 3 areas where we really need to investigate crime. Right? That's just like when you think about areas that have experienced school shootings, the areas who have not experienced that sort of phenomenon, they're not looking for ways to prevent that because it hasn't happened. It's an anomaly. It's an outlier. It doesn't happen here. So we're not going to look for trying to curb that here because it doesn't really happen here. So I wonder why the folk in Turkey Creek and Kenner believe that this is such a phenomenon that they got to push a law, a proposed constitutional amendment to change the actual legislation on it. I wonder if that's happening in Kenner like that, Debbie. Is the fentanyl out of control in Kenner? Carjacking and home invasions? Is it out of control in Turkey Creek where you want to push this? Or are you trying to mind the business that doesn't concern you when you're trying to create legislation for areas that you don't even live in, have any concern about? When the folk who actually live here, the legislators who live here, work here, go to church here saying this is going to be bad, right? But we know y'all not talking the whole of Louisiana. We know what y'all are trying to do. I know what you're trying to do anyway. But let's see what the article says. How Amendment 3 would change things. If the amendment passed, the legislator could add new offenses for which children as young as 14 can be tried as adults. Lawmakers would need 2/3 vote to do so. If a juvenile is charged as an adult for one of those offenses, they will be housed in an adult facility under the same sentencing laws as adults, excluding the death penalty. But we know they pushing the death penalty here right now, so nothing is exclusionary for them right now. Everything is on the table. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil this morning. Cloud, another sponsor of the measure, said current state law limits the state's ability to curb rising violent crime. In 2022, juveniles accounted for 9.9% of all arrests for violent crime, up from 8.7% in 2021, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics within the U.S. Department of Justice. Vilio said the move is necessary to protect society. It could also curb the negative impacts violence has on the economy, as juvenile crime can reduce tourism and low business investment. Y'all hear it, huh? Juvenile crime can cause reduced tourism. So I wonder who rushing to Turkey Creek. Huh? Who visited Turkey Creek, Nyron? People flying in to go to Turkey Creek? Or Kenner? So see, when I hear the juvenile crime can cause reduced tourism and low business investment, I wonder which area they talking about. Could it be the good old beautiful cultural city of New Orleans? Y'all got to stop playing it out there. I don't even know where Turkey Creek is on the map. I'm going to have to open it up and go look to see where you are, that people, that the tourism is being affected by this crime so much so that you're pushing an amendment that will lock children up for more offenses as young as 14. Because, you know, Heather Cloud is out of Turkey Creek and Vilio is out of Kenner. So I wonder, are people tearing down American Airlines to fly to Kenner? What they coming to see? Or are they going to Kenner to come to New Orleans? Questions that need answering. This isn't about prosecuting 10-year-olds as adults, and it isn't about prosecuting juveniles for petty crimes, Vilio said, adding that the change will be limited to 15 and 16-year-olds. Well, how is the change limited to 15 and 16-year-olds, but a paragraph up, it says, if the amendment passed, the legislator could add new offenses for which children as young as 14 can be tried as adults. Somebody not telling the truth. But we're going to continue to talk about it. We got to make our break around here. But my apologies, y'all, for running a bit late. But y'all got to pray for me and my call. But when we come back, we're going to talk to Patty Riddlebarger, the Vice President, Corporate Social Responsibility with Entergy. We're going to talk about how Entergy offers a child savings account through the Kids to College Power Program by Entergy. Stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show
Good morning.
on WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Happy Monday, y'all. Listen, do not forget, you have to vote on March 29th. That is this Saturday. But right now, we want to welcome Patty Riddlebarger, Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility with Entergy. Welcome her to the Good Morning Show. Good morning, Miss Patty. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great. It's so good to be here with you.
Well, happy Monday. Happy Women's History Month as well. And we're here to talk about these child savings account through Kids to College, which is powered by Entergy. Can you tell us a little bit of an overview about this program?
Sure. So we are so excited to be able to offer this program to families across our service area. It's a program that's offered through the Entergy Charitable Foundation and paid for by Entergy shareholders. The program helps low-income families establish savings accounts, college and post-secondary school savings accounts for their children. And we're super excited about it because it's a free child savings account. And when families open the account, if they're eligible, you have to meet certain income criteria, but eligible families will receive automatically, Entergy will provide the first $50 for that account. And then after that, if the family chooses to save any additional money during the first year, we will match any money that the family saves up to $300 in the first year. Doesn't cost a penny. Any family who meets the income eligibility criteria is eligible. We believe in the power of education, and we've designed this program to help families get a jump start on saving for their children's future.
It says that research shows that when families plan and set aside funds for their child's college education, that child is 4 times more likely to earn a degree. So can you talk to us about these eligibility requirements? Because we've mentioned them twice here, but we want to be very specific for our listening audience on what would qualify you to participate in this Kids to College program.
So the child must be age 16 or younger, and the younger the better, because the longer the money has, the more time that the money has to grow, the more money will be available for the child when the child is ready for that money. The family has to be an Entergy customer, and they have to have an annual household income of below $60,000 if there's just one wage earner in the family, or $80,000 if there are 2 wage earners in the household.
So it also says here that the family opens a My 529 account for a child or multiple children in the household, 1 account per child. And it says, how do we register for this? So let's say we meet every point that requires eligibility. How do we register for a Kids to College savings account?
It's super easy. You visit our website. It's Entergy.com/kids. That's Entergy.com/kids. And you can sign up on that website. It has all the information that you need. You input the necessary information that the form requires, and it's as easy as that to sign up. We also send volunteers out in the community to attend events. So if there is a school leader listening and you have a parents' night out or a PTO night, we will send volunteers to staff a table, and we can sign up families there. We also attend community events. We partner with United Way of Southeast Louisiana. Second Saturday of every month, we're at Baldwin Books with volunteers, helping people who are interested sign up their children. Baldwin does a story time Saturday, and so we come to that event. We attend various events in the community with volunteers to help families sign up. But you can do it on your own just by going to the website.
But in that, we talked about that first year. You say you'll match whatever the family contributes up to the $300 in that first year. How does it work any year thereafter?
Any year thereafter, the families can continue contributing as they are able, but there is no match after the first year. So only the first year are we able to match those funds.
So how does
That's just designed to help families get a jump start that first year.
No, absolutely. I just wanted to be clear, because when we hear matching, right, and then you say we match up to 300 that first year, I'm listening for the next year. What is it going to be? Half of that? Like, so I just wanted to be clear. So there's no matching
Absolutely.
after the initial year, but it's meant to give families and we love a jump start now. We love a jump start. That's why we love Head Start. I'm a Head Start baby. I went to Head
Yes.
Start.
And we'll come to Head Start schools, because the
Yeah.
sooner you open an account, the better. So if there are Head Start leaders out there who would like us
Absolutely.
to come to your school, we will come to your school and help your parents sign up.
Listen, and we appreciate that, because again, I was a Head Start baby. I think Head Start is critical to getting that jump start on education. So shout out to Head Start. That's TCA in New Orleans, and that's Jeff Cap in Jefferson Parish. And it's a funny thing, I was a TCA baby, but I was a Jeff Cap teacher. And so Head Start is very much important to me. But how does Entergy see its role in helping families plan for their children's future education? Like, besides this Kids to College program, which I think is wonderful, how does Entergy see its role in ensuring that children have a future as it relates to education?
Education is foundational for everything that an individual needs if that person is going to be able to fulfill his or her full potential. And so that's why we believe in the power of education and providing every child in our communities with an opportunity to get an excellent education and to be positioned to do whatever their heart desires when they graduate from high school. But we know that they need to have, it takes resources. And most jobs today, you need something other than a high school degree. You need a certification. It doesn't have to be a 4-year degree. This program will work for any post-secondary education program. That could be trade school, technical school, cosmetology school, mechanics, plumbing, contractors, any sort of post-secondary education. And it can be used for any type of post-secondary education need. So it could be books, could be tuition, could be lab fees. It's really very, very broad. But we believe that having that nest egg, having some funds ready to go when you're ready to graduate from high school can make all the difference in the world. And there's some really solid research behind that. The research shows that a child having as little as $500 in a savings account can triple the likelihood that a child will go to college and quadruple the likelihood that that child will complete college.
So, Ms. Pettit, can you talk to us about any kind of feedback or success stories you've had or you've received from families who have enrolled in the Kids to College program? Has there been any feedback thus far regarding the program?
The families are super excited about it when they hear about it. It's relatively new, so we don't have any success stories to share yet. That will come in time. But the families that hear about it are excited about it.
And how does the Kids to College program help ensure that low-income families have access to higher education? We know that there's an income requirement, so that's part of the criteria. But how else does it ensure that folk who are in low-income circumstances understand that there are pathways to college for them?
Well, it has to be part of a larger program and process that our school ecosystems provide. And so Entergy supports local schools. We work very closely with local school charter organizations here in Orleans. We're an all charter organization, all charter school system. And so we provide grants and funding and support to those school entities that provide the services that are wraparound services to help families do what they need to do to get their kids through school and to college.
And Ms. Petty, does the program stipulate the type of college that the child is able to attend, such as like a community college or a 4-year college or a technical? Are there stipulations on the type of college that you can take these funds to that Entergy is matching so that you can further your education?
No, the only requirement is that the institution must be accredited, and that's to protect the families, to make sure that the child is attending a bona fide accredited institution. But it could be a community college, it could be a trade school, it could be a technical school. As long as the institution is accredited, the funds can be used.
So let's talk about this idea of, because here's the thing. I think you guys spoke had a conversation with the folks over at Delgado. They're our partners here, and there's so many programs. Each and every time I talk to Delgado, I learn something new about Delgado, and this just sounds like like a partnership should be happening there, where folk know they can take these funds and go over to Delgado, because Delgado also offers the opportunity for folk who are in school in a different space, and then they come home for the summer here or in any place in Louisiana, and they still can go to Delgado and take additional courses that would then most of them transfer to most of the
Absolutely.
colleges in Louisiana. So like if they're in New Orleans, but they go to school, at Southeastern, but they're here for the summer, they can take a course at Delgado and it's transferable. I just think Delgado's doing so much wonderful stuff that our kids
Yes.
just probably don't know that's happening. And I'm excited
Yeah.
about this program because it's harder and harder for families to put monies together, especially in an economy that is now allowing us to save. And then it's just, we rely on the scholarships, we rely on TOPS, we rely on things to help put the packages together for our kids. So I think this is something, in terms of partnerships, I think anytime we can partner something like this with a Delgado or other institutions that are doing things to try to help families make the ends meet so that their children could attain a college degree, I think it's wonderful. I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
wonderful. I think the
I
matching
think
you
that's
guys are
a
doing
fabulous idea.
is wonderful. Yeah, I think so. And there are some banks that do the same thing, like they match certain monies that you put aside for your kids' college. And I just think any opportunity that helps families, especially our families who are already trying to make ends meet, but they still want college to be an option for their children. This is something that is absolutely necessary. So, how can families know? Well, what message? Let's just say that. What message would you like to share with families who may be hesitant or unsure about signing up for the Kids to College program?
I would say that there's absolutely nothing to lose. This is free. You will automatically get a $50 match, $50 from Entergy to start saving for your child's education today. And the sooner you start, the better, because the longer trajectory that account has to grow, the more will be available when your child is ready. It's never too soon to start, and there's no reason for any family to not take advantage of this opportunity if they need it.
And that, I guess, that leans into this question. You kind of touched on it, because what does the research show about long-term impact of saving for education through programs like Kids to College?
There is a large body of research that shows the impact of having a child savings account changes the child's trajectory through as they go through school, because if they believe that college is an option, then that leads them to choose that impacts the choices that they make as they are in school about electives and classes that they sign up for. If they think that college is an option for them, then they are more likely to sign up for those classes that will lead to that path to college. So it changes the child's trajectory. It increases the likelihood that a child will attend college or post-secondary education by 3 times, and it quadruples the likelihood that the child will graduate from college by 4 times. It also changes, there's also research that shows that having a child savings account changes the family's trajectory, because watching that savings account grow for the child, there are also savings accounts that families can open for themselves, and it opens their eyes to the possibilities that can exist when you have a savings account and you watch it grow. So it's good for the family, it's good for the child, and it's good for our community, because the more that individuals have the tools that they need to achieve their dreams, the better off we all are.
And let's talk about the states, because it's not just here in Louisiana. It also covers which states?
This covers the entire Entergy service area, which is Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas.
Yeah, because we have listeners all over, and we want to make certain, because they could also stream, that they understand that it's not just a Louisiana initiative. It's the entire Entergy area, because I'm on your website. I'm looking at it on your website, and it says Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas as well. I believe that was important to mention. And so when we talk about the monies, right? So let's say I sign up and then you guys are matching. When you guys are matching, does the money come directly to me, or is it sitting somewhere waiting for my child to enroll and then you release the money to the institution? How does that work?
So we are administering this program through a partnership with United Way of Southeast Louisiana.
Okay.
So the Entergy Charitable Foundation made a donation to Southeast Louisiana. They're holding the funds. So when families sign up, Southeast Louisiana verifies their eligibility. United Way of Southeast Louisiana will verify the family's eligibility and then release those funds to be deposited into the My 529 account that is opened.
And let's just talk about the age for a second. Why is it important that the child be 16 years of age or younger to participate?
The reason why that's important is because it takes a certain amount of time for the interest in those savings to grow, and the younger you are, the more time you have for those dollars to grow. If you're already 16 or older, getting ready to graduate from school, it doesn't give much time for that account to grow. So that account will not be worth much more. If, for example, if the family doesn't put any more money in and there's just $50 there, the account will not grow very much before the child is ready to graduate and then needs that money. So it's just more effective if you start at a younger age.
So it's earning interest?
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's the beauty of the account.
Yeah.
It earns interest. It's invested in funds that generally grow at a rate of the stock market has been performing at a rate of about 10%. That can change, and it does change on a daily basis. It's a volatile circumstance, but overall, over time, the market grows, and as the investment grows, then the child will have more money in their account. So that it's not just $50; it will grow over time.
And can you tell us? I know we briefly touched on it. How can families find out more information or get assistance with the sign-up process?
Absolutely. So the information is on our website. It's entergy.com/kids. And on that website, there's contact information for United Way of Southeast Louisiana, who is our partner in this program. If families have questions or if they need signing up, they can contact United Way of Southeast Louisiana. Their information is also on the website. And again, if school leaders, Head Start operators, programs that reach kids in our community, if you would like someone from Entergy, a volunteer, to come out to your meetings and sign up families on the spot, we are able to do that also. Please reach out to us and we can arrange for that.
I think that is amazing. And maybe too, Ms. Petty, have you guys thought about not partnering, but also going to the different colleges to have these conversations? Because more often than not, if the child that's already in college doesn't need it, there's a sibling somewhere that may need this access to a program such as this, especially when you have multiple kids in college. You're looking for multiple streams of income to help pay for that. So I think like going to colleges as well and, having a table to discuss it when they're having their registration processes may also be something to consider, so we can further the conversation or broaden the conversation as well.
That's a great idea. And also some college students are parents already themselves.
Yes.
So they may be interested in signing up their children.
Yes, I think that this is the educator in me, Ms. Petty. I'm always just kind of thinking about how do we get the message amplified, especially in the climate where we are facing potential federal cuts to funding. And I think in a climate such as this, any opportunity where we can receive funds or match funds to ensure that our children have access to higher education, that conversation has to be amplified on every level, just so that, because this is my first time hearing about this particular program, and I know it's fairly new, but this is my very first time hearing about it. And so if it's my first time hearing about it as an educator, I'm certain that a lot of our listening audience is hearing it for the first time. So now we can amplify the message by letting folk know that this program exists and the ways that
Thank you for helping us get the word out.
Absolutely. For sure. It is my pleasure. So what advice would you give to families looking to secure their children's education for the future?
I would say it's never too early to get started, and parents need to be involved and be engaged. I'm a first-generation college attender myself, first in my family to attend, and I know it can be hard, and I know it can be confusing, and navigating the path is not always easy, but it's definitely worth it.
Listen, we appreciate you here. I always enjoy having conversations that have any sort of bearing on academic access, right? It's just an opportunity to be able to maximize any opportunity that's out there. And so for us to know that Entergy is offering that, and I think it's wonderful because a lot of the times the people who we pay our bills to, there's never anything returned back to us in terms of initiatives or incentives to make certain that we feel that you value our money. I love businesses and corporations that actually want to give back to community. So for me, I, as an educator and as a mother, I'm ecstatic about knowing about this program. And even though my son doesn't really need it, there are other children who need it. And so I'm just as excited for those children who will be able to take advantage of something like this. And it may seem small, but just like you said, as the money grows, it's kind of just sitting there growing. And then when it's time for the kids to go off, you realize you have this little nest egg that can help out with books, housing, gas, right? I mean, some of our kids are driving. They need gas. It's just any little thing that will help make education more attainable, and just knock down any barriers to that. So we appreciate you here. So kind of give us that website where they can go one more time. And let's talk one more time about the eligibility criteria.
Sure. The website is entergy.com/kids, and the eligibility criteria are child must be age 16 or younger, the family must be an Entergy customer, and they must have an annual income less than $60,000 per household if there's one wage earner in the household, or $80,000 per household if there are two wage earners in the household.
And it also says the family opens up a My 529 account for a child or multiple children in a household, one account per child, but they can register for the My 529 account. Parent and child must each have a social security number. We want to make certain that we say that as well, because we don't want folk to not have what they need. And oftentimes they have one, they just don't know it. They don't know the social security number. So when you're going to sign up, please make sure you have your social security cards available, because you will need that to sign up. So thank you, Ms. Patty, for joining us this morning, telling us all about this Kids to College program that matches in the first year up to $300 for kids and their families to be able to have some sort of funding should they decide that they want to go to college. And this is happening in the entire Entergy area, which is Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas.
Yes.
So look, the floor is yours. You got about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever message you want to leave our listening audience, you can do so at this moment.
Awesome. I just want to tell parents it's never too early to start. If you are interested in learning more, please visit us at entergy.com/kids.
And there's also a phone number. Would you like me to share it? You have a phone number, right, for this, or no? That they can call? Or is it just?
If you have a number, go ahead and give it out. I don't have.
I thought it was a number too. Sometimes they have an email and a phone number, so it's just the website address, entergy.com/kids. Is that the only way to contact this program or engage with it?
Yes, that is.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Patty Riddle-Barger, the Entergy Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility. We're here talking about offering the Child Savings Account through Kids to College, powered by Entergy. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and happy Women's History Month.
Thank you.
Have a blessed one. Listen, we have to go to break, y'all, but when we come back, we're going to continue to talk about educational opportunities. We're going to talk about the state of this city, the state of this state, and the state of this country. There's some wonderful things going on at the University of Edna Karr in terms of scholarships, and I'll share that with you right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance, but Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Join me, Dr. Jakil Ross of New Schools for New Orleans for Talk That, NOLA Education. This Monday, we'll be joined by Max Day and others to talk about the upcoming election and its impact on education and teachers. Be sure to tune in Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m.
In recognition of Women's History Month, WBOK 1230 AM presents Her Story Spotlight, honoring extraordinary women whose achievements have redefined what's possible.
This is Monica Pierre joining WBOK as we celebrate Women's History Month. Madam C.J. Walker, making the impossible possible. The daughter of formerly enslaved parents, Sarah Breedlove, who had become known as Madam C.J. Walker, had a tough life in the beginning. Orphaned at 7, married at 14, and widowed at 20, she spent the better part of the next 2 decades laboring as a washerwoman for $150 a week. Then everything changed, and by her death in 1919, Walker managed to overcome astonishing odds. She built her own storied beauty empire from the ground up, even on her own ground, amassed wealth unprecedented among Black women, and devoted her life to philanthropy and social activism. And along the way, she formed friendships with great early 20th century political figures such as Ida B. Wells and Mary McLeod Bethune. Her business model involved both mail order sales and door-to-door sales. Walker's saleswomen were called Walker agents, and they did more than just sell products. They too became philanthropists. And one agent even said Walker opened up a trade for hundreds of Black women to make an honest and profitable living where they made as much in 1 week as many made in an entire month. She died at an early age of 51, and in her will, Madam C.J. Walker directed 2/3 of her estate's future net profits to charity organizations. This is Monica Pierre along with WBOK celebrating Women's History Month.
WBOK 1230 AM celebrates Women's History Month and the visionaries and innovators who broke barriers and paved the way for generations to come.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My super producer, Nyra Sanders, is also in the building pushing all the right buttons. If you're just joining us, you missed the conversation with Miss Patty Riddlebarger, the Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility with Entergy. She was on the call talking about Entergy's child savings account through Kids to College, which is powered by Entergy and is happening in the entire Entergy corridor, which covers Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Texas. And if you sign up, Entergy is willing to match you dollar for dollar up to $300 in that first year. But after that year, there's no match, but you can still put into the savings account for your kid to have access to college. So shout out to Entergy and Miss Patty Riddlebarger for joining us this morning. And in the spirit of talking about pathways to college, Edna Karr High School Alumni Network, which is ECAN for short, they've launched their scholarships as well, and the application deadline for those scholarships are April 11th, 2025 at midnight Central Standard Time. One of the scholarships is the ECAN, the Edna Karr Alumni Network Class of 1998 Legacy Scholarship. That scholarship is from the class of 1998, and it's been established to recognize and support graduating seniors who exemplify the qualities of a well-rounded student. Inspired by the diverse experiences and accomplishments of the class of 1998, this scholarship will be awarded to individuals who demonstrate strong academic performance, active engagement in extracurricular activities, and dedication to making a positive difference. The award size is $500 to $1,000. The minimum GPA is a 3.0, and the scholarship submission is a video. And then there's a scholarship question that the applicants must address. The next scholarship is the ECAN C.G. Thibodeau Wheeler Harmony and Healing Scholarship. This scholarship is dedicated to supporting Edna Karr High School students who exemplify determination, dedication, and discipline in their pursuits. The scholarship awards 2 graduating seniors, 1 aspiring healthcare professional and 1 dedicated band member who have demonstrated a commitment to their education and community. The award size is $500 each, and the minimum GPA is a 2.5. The next scholarship is the ECAN Pizos Pursuit of Emerging Business Leaders Scholarship. This scholarship is established to recognize and support graduating seniors at Edna Karr who demonstrate a strong commitment to both academic excellence and leadership within the school community, with a particular focus on those pursuing a major in business. This scholarship acknowledges the importance of fostering future business leaders who possess not only a solid academic foundation, but also the essential leadership skills necessary for success in the dynamic world of commerce. The award size is $2,000 with a minimum GPA of a 2.5. The scholarship submission requirement is an essay, and there's also a scholarship question listed there for all applicants to address. And the last one is the Edna Karr Alumni Network Purple and Gold Scholarship. This scholarship is generously funded by the Edna Karr alumni and is dedicated to supporting graduating seniors who embody the core values of determination, dedication, and discipline, the foundation of success instilled at Edna Karr High School. This scholarship aims to empower students as they take the next step in their academic and professional journeys. The award size is $500 to $1,000 with a minimum GPA of a 3.0. The scholarship submission requirement is an essay or a personal statement, and there's also a scholarship question there for the applicants to address. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. There's another scholarship, which is called the Bill Robinson Excellence in Leadership Scholarship. And this scholarship was established to honor the profound and lasting impact of Coach Bill Robinson on the students of Edna Karr. Coach Bill Robinson served not only as a dedicated coach, but also a transformative teacher and loving mentor, shaping the lives of countless students. This scholarship aims to recognize and support graduating seniors who, like Coach Robinson, demonstrate a commitment to excellence across multiple domains. Specifically, the scholarship will be awarded to students who have achieved high academic standing, demonstrated significant leadership qualities, and excelled in athletic pursuits. This initiative aligns with the ECAN's mission to foster well-rounded individuals who embody the values of dedication, leadership, holistic development, ensuring that Coach Robinson's legacy of mentorship and excellence continues to inspire future generations of Edna Karr students. The award size is $1,000 and $500,000, not $500,000, y'all. We ain't got that kind of money. There is no minimum GPA requirement, but there is a scholarship submission requirement, which is a video and an essay. And there's a scholarship question for the applicants to address. Listen, there's more and more scholarship. Excuse me for thinking it was over. Here is the last scholarship, the ECAN Tiffany Smith Mosaic Scholar Scholarship. The Tiffany Smith Mosaic Scholarship is established to recognize and support a graduating senior who embodies the idea of a well-rounded student. This award will be granted to an individual demonstrating the exceptional academic achievement, active engagement in the performing arts, and proven leadership qualities, reflecting the mosaic of talents. Furthermore, the recipient must express a clear commitment to pursuing a major in healthcare. The scholarship aligns with our mission to foster students who are both academically rigorous and actively involved in enriching the community, ultimately preparing them for impactful careers in healthcare. The award is $500 with a minimum GPA of 2.8. And the requirement for submission is a video. There's a scholarship question there for any applicant to address. And I will also go on to say that Tiffany Smith is the president of the Edna Carr Alumni Network. I am a board member, so I am ecstatic to be able to share what Edna Carr is doing to give some post-high school opportunities to the graduates of Edna Carr. So shout out to the Edna Carr Alumni Network and its president, Miss Tiffany Smith, and all of those individuals whose names will appear on those varying scholarships. And thank you for the opportunity to share that right here on WBOK with our listening audience. And so it's always good to be able to share what is happening when a community gives back to itself. So shout out to the Edna Carr Alumni Network for what they're doing to further the educational opportunities of our children, especially on the cusp of the current president signing an executive order to start to dismantle the Department of Education. But we know that he doesn't have unilateral power to do that, even though he's doing it. But we want to make certain that people understand, even though a lot of the things he's doing requires Congress and it requires different layers of government to enact, what the reality is, he can still make it very difficult for schools across this country to be able to fund certain programming, to make certain that certain programming continues to exist. So even though he can't completely just dismantle it with the signing of an executive order, he can make it very, very hard for federal funding to kind of trickle down. And what we also have to understand is this idea of governors going around, particularly our governor, talking about giving the powers to the state. Listen, the majority of the funding is already controlled by the state. Let's just be clear about that. But the type of funding that the federal government controls is going to have major critical implications on Title I schools, and you will find Title I schools in most impoverished communities. It will have dire implications for children who depend on funding for those of us who teach children or have children who benefit from exceptional student services funding, meaning those kids with exceptionalities, those kids with disabilities, they will be critically impacted should the Department of Education actually dismantle itself. So let's be clear. While the states already control the majority of the funding, all of the decisions about curriculum and all of those things are already made by the state. So I don't know why our governor just can't tell full picture stories when he talks. But let's be very clear. There's a specific demographic of children and families and communities that depend on federal funding to come down to the state level to make certain that we have it for kids who are most in need. We're going to continue to talk about that right here on WBOK, but after the break, we'll jump back into it. But at the 8:30 mark, we'll talk to Montrell Carmouche, Justini's Senior Advisor of Quality Care. We'll be talking about this partnership between Justini's and Operation Restoration coming together to support women. Stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says the Supreme Court will address the Trump administration's deportation flights. Bondi accused a federal judge of overstepping his authority and vowed to continue fighting the judge's order blocking deportations. Courtney Merritt's, the husband of Black former Congresswoman Cori Bush, is charged with wire fraud for allegedly defrauding federal pandemic relief programs. He plans to plead not guilty. Top Democrats are urging the Trump administration to reverse its plan to eliminate the Department of Education, arguing it does important work for students, families, and educators. They sent a letter to Education Secretary Linda McMahon. And a new study found that young marijuana users under 50 are over 6 times more likely to have a heart attack than non-users. They are also more likely to experience heart failure and ischemic stroke. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention New Orleans educators. Are you ready to transform literacy education in your school? The 2025 Literacy Leader Cohort is a 2-year program designed to empower middle and high school leaders with cutting-edge science of reading training, coaching support, expert-led workshops, and earn a $3,000 stipend. Apply by March 21st to lead the way in reshaping literacy for our city students. Don't miss this chance to grow and make a lasting impact. Visit newschoolsneworleans.org to apply and learn more.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. If you're just joining us, we were talking about this executive order that the guy that is occupying the White House currently is just recently signed in an attempt to dismantle the Department of Education. But we know that he doesn't have unilateral power to do so. I believe he just likes to see his name scribbled on paper. And there's somebody else that agrees with me with that. We're going to play this clip so you can hear, so you don't have to take it from me. There's political pundits talking all the time about what these executive orders mean and what they don't mean, what power they have and what power they don't have. Let's take a listen.
Donald Trump just basically had a photo op today. He didn't dismantle the Department of Education. It has to be done by an act of Congress. And I know that really bums him out that there are other branches of government. She's taking notes. Hero's taking notes. It's going to be bad. But what he's doing is making life really hard for the DOE to operate. And that's going to have a big effect for sure. Randi Weingarten, and I've said many times, I'm not a tremendous fan of hers. What she is making clear in that interview is that the curriculums are actually set on the state level. So when you look at the lowest ranked states for education, least educated places like Arkansas, places like Mississippi, West Virginia, run by Republicans, that's on them for that. That's not on her. She's not setting the curriculum. What the DOE does and why it was created by Jimmy Carter and why probably you can't get Democrats at least to vote to abolish it is that it's a funding and civil rights enforcement organization. And when I hear Republicans out there talking about their plan for education in America, I don't hear them talking about making sure disabled kids have access to a public education. I don't hear them talking about impoverished
because we're against it.
I know you are. Thank you for admitting it on such a public forum. They want to end up privatizing it. They want a voucher system, which means that kids who can't get to those schools, don't have enough money to, or frankly want to go to public schools, won't have access. And they also have all of these religious kooks, like the superintendent of Oklahoma who wants to spend millions of dollars on Bibles for the schools, Trump Bibles, because it's all a grift. They want to make it private. They want to make them religious institutions. And that goes against what you're supposed to do in America. So does it need reform? Does it need to be made better? 100%. But come on.
She's absolutely. Listen, did you hear the man chime in when she said that it's about making certain that kids with disabilities have access? And he said, we're against it. And she said, I know you are. Thank you for saying it so publicly on this public platform. Like sometimes they have Freudian slips, right? Where they don't even, their racism is just bubbling up. So it's boiling over and they can't help themselves. And then they just speak out of turn. But they say what they actually mean with no sugar on and no lipstick on the pig. They just say it, right? And we have to start listening. And this is my issue with the respectability politics. Because you cannot reason or negotiate with terrorists. You just can't do it. And I know we like to say that when it's about a threat to the American people. But what happens when the threat is against the American people by the American politicians? and folks put in charge of making certain that we're safe. Because when you raise your right hand and you take the oath of office, you say that you want to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. There's a domestic assault happening right here in these United States, and we are sitting around being spectators about it. There is no reason, no rhyme or reason, to even consider dismantling the Department of Education unless it's founded. The foundational pillar of it is racism. It's a whole bunch of isms, but it's racism. Let's just be clear here. And it's so crazy how we have folk right here in this state who support it, like the governor, like our superintendent, supporting it. And you just heard the woman characterize it as a civil rights structure to ensure, because if you remember why the department exists in the first place, then you'll understand why it's under attack. And then they're starting little fires everywhere to make certain that we can't focus on one thing. So they're attacking the Department of Education. So your focus is over there. They're attacking Medicaid and Medicare. Your focus is over there. They're starting little fires everywhere. And they're pushing and pushing. Now they're even pushing up against judges who disagree with them. They're calling for them to be impeached, removed. Right? You have Pam Bondi sending threats against Jasmine Crockett. How do you tell a sitting congressional member to tread lightly? But if Jasmine had said that to her, they would be trying to censure her for threats. This is insane what is happening in this country, all in the name of racism. That's all it's about. All in the name of racism. But I'm going to tell you why we have this problem going on, particularly why we have no gubernatorial protection. Well, I'm going to tell you why we have a governor pushing to lock children up younger and younger. Because he started out as an AG trying to lock children up younger and younger. So now he got a hit woman in the AG doing the same thing he was doing as the AG. Trying to push to lock children up younger and younger. You know why that is? Because we couldn't, and we didn't support Sean Wilson. Let's have the real conversation. Y'all want to talk about folk have this apathy for voting and people are not showing up. But my eyes can see. And I'm going to tell you the difference about what I saw when John Bel Edwards ran the last time and when Sean Wilson ran the first time. Oh, the black delegation was gung-ho to support John Bel Edwards. I saw them parading him around in every crevice of this community, all over this state. But we got a governor, the governor we got because black folk decided that it wasn't important to throw their support behind Sean Wilson the same way they threw it behind John Bel Edwards, the same governor that helped to cover up the police-sanctioned murder of Ronald Green. And still to this day, we don't have no justice for Ronald Green. That's the same governor. Being Democrat is not enough. Being black is not enough. You have to support policies that support and uplift and protect black people. And I'm just so sick of having these conversations about low voter. The people that have low voter turnout because they don't got nothing to believe in. They don't believe you. They don't believe you. Because they watching y'all play softball and them people up there playing baseball, they playing kickball. They knocking you around left and right. And we up there playing respectability politics inside the caucus. Jasmine Crockett just came out and said she put herself up for leadership. The caucus knocked her down. AOC put herself up for leadership. The caucus knocked her down. So what's the real problem here? Sean Wilson put himself up for leadership, and guess what the black delegation in the state of Louisiana did? They stayed home. That's why we have this. And I'm going to tell you like this here. I knew the writing was on the wall when I watched him support Katie Bernhardt for the Democratic to be the leader of the Louisiana Dems. And she blew it up from the inside out. Changed the rules in real time when Gary Chambers was on the ballot. Changed it in real time. At the discretion of the chair. That's what was happening. And a lot of our leaders supported her leadership. And then you want to blame the voters for having apathy. Yes, we have apathy. Because we tired. We tired of being sold things and we don't get no return on that investment. We tired of it. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Doctor. There's so much going on in what you've been saying all morning till it's not even funny. We're watching the demise of public education. Trump, your governor, is in Washington now. They got a surprise announcement that they're going to make about economic development. I guarantee you that announcement won't have any environmental protections. They don't care who it impacts in a negative way. So I don't know what it is. I'll just wait and see. But what I'm getting to your point, we're at a point now, we're at a time now that we have to come together to talk about what's going to be the future of our children. It's obvious and it's plain that they are making sure. I keep talking about Elon Musk's son. His great-great-grandchildren will never have to worry about education, will never have to worry about money. So that's there for him. And this is where they are. Now, let's get back to where we are. On tomorrow night, hello?
I'm here.
Right. On tomorrow night, we're going to do a live podcast from the headquarters of Vote to make sure everybody is aware of what's going on with these 4 amendments. I don't think people understand just how damaging and destructive these measures are. On your show, when our assessor was there, and he brought out the fact that they're not going to come out with legislation this session to get rid of the home rule charter for New Orleans. They're not talking about Amendment 2 and the fact that they're going to take away, or not take away, they're going to limit control of local sales tax. But what that says is every city in the state of Louisiana, Jeff Landry and crew will come in and take some of your sales tax money. Well, who produced more sales tax money to the state of Louisiana than New Orleans? New Orleans already has economic issues. So to say that you're going to allow somebody to come in and take more money away from you, I don't care if it's a dime. But you should not allow it. So what are they coming in to do? When we talk about what's happening with our school system on Thursday, I invited the school board to come to the community meeting at 5:30 at MLK High School on Thursday. But we're having the parents, we're having the children, we're having the staff, the 30 people that's been laid off because of the school board's unauthorization to deauthorize MLK High School. If we don't get in the fight, it's horrible to sit and watch what they did at that meeting last Thursday. And I invited all of them to come this Thursday. I guarantee you not one will show up. But again, we're trying to talk about now, how do we bring it together? How do we now move and get some people that's, we talk about who won't do, but you got some people that's out of our community that will sit in the way and make sure that I call it the BS people. These are block and stop people. The only thing they want to do is block it and stop it. And they skin color don't mean nothing. They're here to make sure that the agenda of some other folks go forward. The deauthorization of schools in the middle of a school year is horrible. The damage that it does to the parent, the damage it does to the staff, the damage it does to students. I think people need to understand exactly how this kind of stuff impacts our children. And it's all in the name of money.
Yes. Yep.
It's all in the name of money. Everybody that was in the forefront of the takeover of public schools here in New Orleans are all making well over $100,000 or $200,000 a year. So they could care less about what happens to that child that's 2 years behind. How do we help them? That one of the things that Amendment 2 does is take away infant mortality money, the money that was set aside. It takes away that Head Start money. That program has already been gutted. So they're not here to help you. They're here to talk about what's going to be good for your child or for your community. They're here to try to tell you that we're going to come in and we're going to take whatever little bit you have left. We're going to take some of that. We're going to take more in that. So what I'm looking at, Doc, is that, there has to be some kind of unifying force. And I do think the boycott on public school systems in the city of New Orleans really needs to happen. I think every church, every pastor needs to come in and sit down and give an understanding of what's going out and how this is really going to impact our community 5 years from now. We see the damage already that's being done now, but think about what's going to be for your child, your grandchild, in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit down and look at the future of what's happening now. Public education is not dying. They are killing it.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
And anybody that stands up against them, they're going to have to face something. I mean, we saw what happened at that school board meeting. That was intentional. That was deliberate.
Yeah.
You got an issue here that people are not understanding. Yeah, you were saying that there's empathy and voting and all of that, but the reality of it is that if we don't come together to start talking about how to fight, these 4 amendments, everybody should vote no.
Yeah, no,
When we
I
do this
said that because
podcast
we like to
tomorrow night.
blame the populace for having apathy when the people we're putting in positions to protect us and to speak up for us are doing the very opposite. I'm talking about why we have this governor right now, why we have this state superintendent right now, because folk are they're not playing respectability politics. They bullying
They
their
never
way to
did.
getting what they want, and we allowing them to do it.
Yeah, but they never did.
Well,
That
it's
party,
time to call them out and vote them
never
out,
supported
and that's
you.
what has to happen here. Call them out and vote them out. We can't keep on putting people in positions to control our destiny when
I don't
we know
want to
they're
wait
not
4
doing
years to put them out. I think right now there should be an active recall
it. Yeah.
against some of these school board members. I really believe that. I believe that, and I know I've been involved in recalls before. It starts off hot and it gets down to where people just don't seem to be interested in it. But if you want to send a real message, don't let them last 4 years. Get them out before the 4 years is up. Start removing them people now. So let's talk about how then we need to, and who we need to go after. Because all of those folks that in this last election, you had 2 or 3 candidates that was on the board that didn't even get any threat of somebody running against them.
Right.
All right? So you got to understand. Something else, and everybody keep hollering, well, they didn't have the money, they didn't have this. No, they had enough to what you call them. But when you got that faction up there that have decided that they're going to destroy public education, they brings the money with them to do it.
Yeah. I appreciate
So
you, Ralph.
I was just letting you know, Doc, tomorrow, Voters having a podcast, and we're going to participate in a live podcast. What we're trying to do is get everybody to listen and actually live stream as that event goes on, because we're at a stage now. I think people need to be educated as much as possible.
Yeah, thank you so much. I
But
appreciate you.
all right, you have a good
You too.
good day.
Listen, I gotta go to break, Miss Alicia, but please hold on. I want to hear your commentary. Look, stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
New Orleans, are you ready? A fresh voice in the city is here, bringing you the beats, the culture, and the stories that matter. From local music and food to real talk on what's happening in the streets, we've got you covered. Stay tapped in. Follow us on all platforms at WBOK 1230 for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your city, your culture, your news. Don't just hear about it, be about it. Follow us at WBOK 1230 now.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashan Sawai. We're going to go straight to the phone lines. Miss Alicia, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, everyone. Reverend Calhoun made me go back to the school board meeting last week, and I'm still not over it. I'm not over the blatant fact that you have school board members. One of them had the audacity to say that she wasn't worrying about anything because there's nothing we can do to her. I am kind of disgusted with the fact that they call themselves district board members, whereas we don't have neighborhood schools. Our children go from pillar to post, from one end of Orleans Parish to another end of Orleans Parish. There are no distinguished districts, so all of them are responsible for all of us. But most importantly, with the MLK closing, I didn't have a chance to say what I wanted to say because, you know, they violate our freedom of speech when you're at the meeting, and you don't have enough time to say everything that you want to say. But what I've noticed, white children, white families in all these parish schools get what they want. We had a group of white folk that came to the meeting to save 2 school buildings, to get them off the auction list. And they immediately said, yes. Actually, they amended the agenda to accomplish that, to amend it to save those 2 schools and get them off the auction list, to turn them over to those neighbors to do whatever they want to do. But we can't get the district person over MLK to even visit MLK to stop the closure of MLK. Every time the white folk go to the school board, they get everything that they want. They keep their schools open. They keep their schools from being transferred. But blacks go to the meetings, and it's a done deal. They just look at you like you're crazy. Look at you like you're just wasting your time. And Leila Eames need to be the first one to get off of there. She has no love for the children in the Lower Ninth Ward. She shows no love. She shows nothing about trying to save this school because understand that she has a personal angst against members of the charter. And it shouldn't be about that. It should be about our children. And Rev, I'm with you 100%. Whatever you need the public to do, I'm in. I'm in because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of our children going to jail. I'm sick of our children not having any opportunities, economic opportunities, academic opportunities, no VOTEC. I'm just sick of it all. So I just wanted to say that, Rev, you got my support. Call me. I'll be there.
Thank you, Miss Alicia. We appreciate you. Listen, I am I'm just always floored by what is happening here. And you know, I don't think we talk about the playmakers enough, right? I just don't think we do it. And then when you talk about the playmakers, they do everything but address you. When I talk about the state of education and I call your name, y'all call everybody else's phone. Call mine. Or call the station. It's 504-582-9422. I would love to have a conversation with Dana Peterson, who, one of the playmakers in the background, shadow government, running things, pushing initiatives for the things that he wanted, the people that he wanted, with zero educational prowess, zero. You have a whole lot of volunteer services on different boards for education, and it's boards that y'all are creating. Aligned New Orleans, right? You created it. But your background is you have a master's in business administration from Tulane University, and we wonder why Tulane is the house where all the data comes from, right? The University of Houston, you have economics. That's probably why y'all count children, y'all commodify them. They're just business entities for y'all, cattle, money-making opportunities. But you serve as the Chief Executive Officer of New Schools for New Orleans, the nonprofit dedicated to championing and advocating for high-quality education. That's what the paper say. But what does the practice of the paper saying? The kids are failing, right? Because you, and the rest of your henchmen are pushing a candidate whose proficiency rate across the board is dismal. But y'all talk about y'all want a proven leader with academic success. Well, I believe that if you're looking for academia, you have to have some foot in academics yourself to understand what quality leaders look like, how they present themselves. So this is my struggle to understand, how can you go around the country spewing this stuff to people, misleading folk about the state of education here, and then you change the rules as you see fit for the people who you want to push, right? Because if it was really about education and making certain that kids have the best opportunities, then y'all wouldn't have taken aim at Dr. Donaldo Battisti, the only qualified person to assess what would the next superintendent look like and what they should present like. 40 plus years in academics. He's been a superintendent, currently a professor, right? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And we replace them with somebody with zero academics behind their name, zero understanding of how schools should work. But y'all say this is what's best for kids. A lie, don't care who tell it. We have to get real about what we want for our children here. And look, we're going to switch gears because we have to talk to Montreal. He's been holding on for a minute. Oh, she. Happy Women's History Month, Montreal. Montreal Camouche, Justine's Senior Advisor of Quality Care. She's going to be here talking about the partnership with Operation Restoration to collect diapers and feminine hygiene products to donate to women and families in need. And as a thank you, Justine's is going to offer one free signature cocktail to patrons who donate one of these items. Good morning, Montreal. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm well. I've been listening in this morning. Thank you for your contribution, and thank you for having a conversation that nobody is having.
Listen, Montreal, I appreciate you for appreciating it, because oftentimes the people in charge of the dysfunction don't appreciate when their names are called about their participation in the dysfunction. And all I want to do is have open and honest dialogue about it, right? And if I'm wrong, come and correct the record. That's what I keep telling them. If I'm wrong, let's have a conversation. I offer the number and I offer them a seat. I don't want to be biased, but I'm watching what is happening to our children. So I don't need no data to tell me anything, especially manufactured data. I can see the children. I see the product. Right. And so I just want to talk about it. But let's talk about this partnership that you have with Operation Restoration and how you guys are going around to collect feminine products for women and families in need. Talk to us about that partnership. How did this come about?
Well, Justine has supported Operation Restoration for years, but this year we have taken an extra push towards making sure during this month, in Women's History Month, we're being intentional about making sure that we support women and girls all over the city of New Orleans. And what Justine has been so great, we're so grateful that they've done is they've taken this extra push, and if you go in and you purchase a signature cocktail, you're able to get a voucher. But if you bring in a hygiene item, diapers, soap, any women essential item or any item for the care of a kid or a child, you get a voucher and you're able to get a signature cocktail from Justine's. and it is being donated to the women of the city of New Orleans through Operation Restoration. You can also retrieve these items at a later date. Any woman or girl can access them at our closet, which is located at 3400 Claiborne, Suite E, or it can be dropped off at our office location at 1450 Poydras, Suite 2260.
Well, listen, can you give us a brief overview of the mission and vision of Operation Restoration and how it has evolved over the years?
Yes. So Operation Restoration was founded by Sarita Saib, our founder, because what we noticed was women weren't in the conversation. There were no resources for women, and basic needs weren't being met. So since then, 2016, it was founded for women and girls impacted by incarceration. Any girl that is touched by the criminal legal system, be it their mother, father, sister, brother, because incarceration, what we realize is it affects the whole household. When a woman is arrested, so are the children. So we support them in its entirety. We have educational classes starting at early literacy all the way up to GED, high-SAT classes. We have a college and prison program that is inside of the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. We support with energy assistance, water assistance, uniform for kids. We take them on outings. We have a college tour coming for our little girls. We have mental health support for women. You name it, we address it. Anything that impacts a woman or girl.
So what inspired the creation of Operation Restoration, and how has it impacted women and girls affected by the criminal legal system?
So our founder was arrested and went to federal prison. She didn't come from the same socioeconomic background as most of us did. She's from Bastrop, Louisiana. Her mother was a judge. Her father worked in the plant. But what she realized when she went to prison, the same thing that she had in common with most of the women there was trauma. Everybody had a story or something that they had went through that impacted their decisions that caused them to go to prison. When she was released from prison, she tried to fill out a college application to go to school, the FAFSA, and she checked the box. She got denied entry to college. 1 year later, she submitted the same application, but didn't check the box this time. She graduated top of her class from LSU Health and Science Center, went on to work in the lab, in the hospital, but she had this little secret. She was formerly incarcerated. She met a supervisor that now actually works for Operation Restoration and leads our lab assistant program. But this one woman invested in her and believed in her, even knowing that she had been incarcerated. But she had that secret. One day she decided that she couldn't live with the secret anymore. She walked away and wanted to make a difference for other women and girls that had that secret but didn't have that leap of faith to try to go out and get a job and do something different. So then became Operation Restoration. It was really born out of necessity.
Well, we appreciate Sarita and Operation Restoration for what they do for women and girls, especially those touched by the judicial and incarceration systems here. And what we have on the ballot, I'm certain, just hearing you speak and what I know of her and Operation Restoration, I know you guys have to be strongly opposed to proposed constitutional amendment number 3, where they're talking about locking our children up younger and younger and putting them into the adult system. And so I'm certain that there's some work over there happening around these proposed constitutional amendments. And listen, anything that I can do as it relates to children and families in partnership with Operation Restoration, I'm down, because I love to support organizations and people who actually support people, especially in this city. Our children need wraparound services from all of us to be able to maintain here. So it says that Operation Restoration has invested over $747,000 in bailouts. How does this financial support help restore freedom for those affected by the criminal legal system?
Absolutely. It's the belief of Operation Restoration and the folks that work there that freedom should be free, right?
Yeah.
So what we do is we post bail for people that can't afford to do so for themselves. Actually, that's a project that I lead. When I went to prison 25 years ago, I couldn't pay with money, so I paid with my life. And we have a daily commitment to make sure that people don't have to do those same things, because the climate that we're in right now, a lot of people are committing survival crimes. So the last thing we want people to do is have to go and steal that soap. That's why it's so important for people to go out and donate an essential item to Justini's, get a free cocktail, and support community.
And look, and talking about that partnership, let's just switch gears for a second and talk about Justinis. How did the partnership come to fruition between Operation Restoration and Justinis?
Operation Restoration has worked with Justinis over the past 4 years, but Justinis has been very intentional about supporting women, especially Black women in community, and we reached out. We told her about an initiative we wanted to do. She was happy to be on board, and from there, it has been a thing. Anytime we reach out, anytime we ask for support, free meals, any kind of support for our youth program, Operation Girls, she provides things to be able to make us be able to, because you'll be surprised how many people do not have a hot meal in the evening after they get off of school.
No,
So the
I
partnership
know,
was just
I know firsthand. Trust me, I know firsthand. So, can you tell us about the donation drive? Like, what kind of items are you guys targeting for this particular initiative?
Absolutely. We are targeting diapers. We're targeting soap, toothpaste, deodorant, feminine products, essential items for women and girls. Any items, tampons, panty liners, soap, toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, just basic needs being met for a woman and a child.
And then why did you choose to focus on those particular items?
It's Women's History Month, and also the mission of Operation Restoration is to support women and girls all over the world, because when every face there it is right now, men are forward facing in the world. The woman is not a part of the conversation, and when we think about it, the man is the head and the woman is the neck. Women control the world right now. So we have to make sure we keep women in the conversation.
I'm with you when you're right. I'm with you when you're right. I'm with you when you're right. So just talking about this partnership, and look, in all seriousness, like I truly believe that there has to be an awakening between Black men and Black women to make certain that we don't allow the conversations to control how we speak to each other, how we address each other, how we love on each other. Because we do know propaganda tells us that Black men don't take care of their kids, Black men don't love Black women. It's all fallacy, right? When the truth of the matter is, don't nobody love us like us. And we have to love us that way, right? Because the world does not do it for us. So, like, we cannot buy into these notions that Black men and Black women are somehow adversarial. But because by and large, that is not the truth, right? You can find an anomaly in any conversation. But when you talk about what the reality of it is, Black men are very present in the lives of their children. They're very present in the homes with their wives, right? That's just what the real talk is. But we cannot allow these false narratives to control the conversation between us. So let's just talk about how this looks. So we bring in an item. Do we bring it into Justine's? Like, how do where are we dropping the items off? We're receiving some sort of voucher, you say, and then we're taking that to Justine's to cash in for the cocktail? How does that work?
Absolutely. So there's 3 locations in which these items can be dropped off. You can drop them off if you're in the CBD at our office location, which is 1450 Poydras, Suite 2260. If you're an older New Orleanian, you will look at it as the old Lord and Taylor building. If you're in the younger generation, you may know it as Benson Tower, but we have 1450 Poydras, Suite 2260. If you are further down in community on the Claiborne area, we're at 3400 Suite E. We're located in the same area as Jazz Daiquiri Chicken Watermelon right there. We're on the corner suite at the end. You can donate it there. When you go in, you drop off the item. You'll receive a voucher for the item. When you go into Justine's, you can get a signature cocktail. At the time of getting that cocktail, you just give your voucher to the waitress, and that'll cover the cost of your drink. Also, you can drop it off at Justine's, and when you go in and order your cocktail, let the waitress know, and with the redemption of the hygiene items or the essential item for a family, they'll give you a cocktail at that time.
Listen, I appreciate the partnership and what Justine's is doing to support Operation Restoration and what Operation Restoration is doing to support our women and our families. But what inspired the motto, make your cocktail strong and your laughs loud? Because I think I know the answer, because that's when I laugh the loudest. Love a good lemon drop. Love a good lemon drop.
I do as well. I have no idea what expired, but what I will say is thank you, Jessica, for your contribution.
Yes.
It is much needed. Thank you, Jessica.
Because it is so, listen, it's so poignant, right? Because I promise you, when folks are enjoying good company, good cocktails, the laughter is extremely loud. And you know, in New Orleans, we touchy when we laugh. We got the slappy and everything when we laugh, so you know the drinks are good and the laughter is good, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good cocktails and good food, definitely at Justini's.
Yes.
Please make sure you go out and support us. Operation Restoration, Justini's. Heavy on the girl power, heavy on supporting community, women and girls all over the world. But this month is about the city of New Orleans and how we can support them. We're asking you to come out and please donate some essential items. 1 bar of soap can prevent a survivor crime. 1 bag of washing powder can prevent a survivor crime. 1 pack of diapers can lift the burden off of some single mother that just can't afford to do it in this season. Thank you in advance for your donations.
Look,
1450 Poetry, Suite 2260.
So, Montreal, can you tell us how people can support Operation Restoration and Justini's beyond this this initiative that you have going on to collect these essential items? How else can folks support the work of Operation Restoration and Justini's?
Absolutely. You can visit our website at www.or-nola.org. And also you can visit Justini's website, www.justini'snola.com. We take donations for the closet all throughout the year, gently worn clothing, no used underclothes or socks or hygiene items. We actually pick up those donations. You can donate any monetary things through our website. You can sign up to be a monthly donor, or you can even donate something that's way more valuable than money, your time. 504-684-9222. Let's pay it forward.
I appreciate that. So before we let you go, what's next for Operation Restoration as it continues to serve and uplift women and families in need?
I think the next thing, and the thing that we continue to do and we're intentional about doing, is trying to change the world and create access for women and girls all over the world.
Yeah.
Access.
And it's always
Access.
a need. It's always a need. I appreciate what you guys are doing at Operation Restoration and Justini's, and just putting this partnership together to amplify that we are stronger together. It is Women's History Month. Women are doing some dynamic things. Look, shout out to the women of New Orleans and all of the true leaders, because it's so much that we're doing in silos, right? It's so much work being done for community, and folk just don't know. So I'm proud to be here at WBOK, where we can amplify the work that you guys are doing over there, Operation Restoration and at Justini's. And if you're within the sound of my voice, they're asking you to donate a feminine hygiene product, and you can donate it at the restaurant at Justini's. You can donate it at Operation Restoration, and you can get you a cocktail for making certain that to let you know that we appreciate your donation. So it's always good to have you here, and anytime you're doing any wonderful things that you want to inform our listening audience about, a seat at the table here at WBOK is always open for you, Montreal.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you allowing us the opportunity to use your platform to spread the word to the good people of New Orleans.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed one. Happy Women's History Month.
Thank you. You as well, Queen.
Listen, we want to thank Montreal Camouche, Justini's Senior Advisor of Quality Care, for joining us this morning to talk to us about the partnership between Justini's and Operation Restoration, where they're looking to collect diapers and feminine hygiene products for women and families in need. And as a thank you, Justini's is offering 1 free signature cocktail to patrons who donate one of these items. So stay with us right here. We'll have more to talk about state of the country, state of the state, state of this city right here, WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU.
For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Welcome to The Community Scientist. I'm excited to bring you our quarterly review of the latest research. If you live or work in St. James, St. John's, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard parishes, it's vital that you have access to clear, objective information about lead, hexavalent chromium, and cadmium, and how these substances impact your health and our natural environment. The Community Scientist is a service program of Rise St. James, supported by our dedicated TCS research team. To learn more, visit risestjames.org.
In recognition of Women's History Month, WBOK 1230 AM presents Her Story Spotlight, honoring extraordinary women whose achievements have redefined what's possible.
March is Women's History Month, a month dedicated to recognizing and celebrating the contributions of women to our society. This is Kimber White Dupree, sharing information about Dorothy Mae Taylor. Dorothy Mae de Lavallade Taylor was an educator and politician in New Orleans, the first African-American woman to be elected to serve in the Louisiana House of Representatives. From 1971 to 1980, she represented District 20, since renumbered in her native New Orleans. She had started her career as a teacher in the Head Start program, designed to benefit children in their early years. She was also active in civil rights in the 1950s and 1960s, gaining more resources for facilities for African Americans in the city. She worked in issues of healthcare, childcare, racial discrimination, and inhumane conditions in state prisons. As director of the Central City Neighborhood Health Clinic from 1980, she also worked to develop African American leaders among her staff and mentored a number of future politicians in the state. In 1984, she was appointed by Governor Edwin Edwards as head of state of the Department of Urban and Community Affairs, becoming the first African American woman to hold a cabinet position. Taylor began her career in public service in the Parent-Teacher Association, demanding equal supplies and funding for African American children from the Orleans Parish School Board. She was vital to the desegregation of New Orleans Recreation Department, as well as other voter registrations. Ms. Taylor's most memorable contribution was to have authored an ordinance insisting that all Mardi Gras crews stop discriminating and institute an open admission policy for anyone seeking to join their organizations if they chose to use the city services to hold their parades. The reaction to this ordinance was swift and downright vicious. Old Line crews threatened to end Mardi Gras by refusing to parade if this ordinance was enforced. Ms. Taylor held public hearings that forced the club members to answer questions that they didn't even ask in private. Dorothy Mae Taylor, a woman of influence, a woman of power, a woman in history.
WBOK 1230 AM celebrates Women's History Month and the visionaries and innovators who broke barriers and paved the way for generations to come.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashansa White. If you're just joining us, you missed a conversation this morning with Patty Riddlewater, the Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility with Entergy. They're talking about this Kids to College program savings account program powered by Entergy. They'll match up to $300 in the first year, and then you can continue saving each year thereafter. Kids ages 16 and under are encouraged. The families of kids 16 years of age or younger are encouraged to sign up at Entergy.com/kids. We also talked to Montrell Kermooch, Justina's senior advisor of quality care. She was here talking about the partnership between Operation Restoration and Justini's coming together to collect diapers and feminine hygiene products for women and families. And as a thank you, Justini's is offering one free signature cocktail to patrons who donate one of these items. But prior to all of those conversations and in between, we were talking about the state of this city in terms of education and the implications of closing the Department of Education as the Trump administration is trying to do with the executive order that he absolutely needs congressional approval to do. But again, I think he just likes flexing his perceived power, and I think he likes halting or disrupting or slowing down services as much as he can in the interim. Because I know he knows, I know somebody around him knows that he doesn't have unilateral power like that, but he seems to think so because now he's targeting judges who disagree with him. Him and his Bodazar are literally saying they don't care what the judges think. He has a press secretary that is going around calling judges low level and saying that they have no power to usurp the executive power of the president. I don't think she understands how the branches of government work. I don't think she knows that they have equal power. It's really weird that we have people in control of our government who seem to lack basic understanding of civics, basic understanding of government. I'm talking about basic. I'm not talking about no high level thinking, because for you to, as a Bodazar, say that you don't care what a judge thinks because you are trying to illegally deport folk under the guise of national security and acting as if all of these people are gang members or some sort of threat to the United States, and you're just putting people on planes and shipping them different places. It defies what the Constitution is really put there to do. It's the guardrails of it all, right? It defies that, and I think that's what they're trying to do: implode government and on every level, every facet of government. You have folk in positions like Pam Bondi threatening congressional members, and she feels like she's empowered to do so because she's the Attorney General. And let's be very honest about the conversation. Congressman Jasmine Crockett was talking about Elon Musk, who is unelected, who has not been vetted, who has no right to be inside of any governmental agency, visiting with members of the Pentagon. He has the ability to go into the Pentagon and have conversations with the alcoholic that is currently running the Department of Defense. And so Pam Bondi is going around lying to the media that Jasmine Crockett called for Elon Musk to be taken out. That is not what she said. So Crockett went on MSNBC to clarify that she was attending a Tesla takedown, a protest movement against Musk. The congressman and the attorney general have been contacted for comment via email, but the Justice Department website, respectively, outside of their normal work hours. But the congressman went on to the show to clarify. This article sought comment from both of them. Because, when they lie, nobody holds them accountable to the lie. Somebody should have made Pam Bondi speak to the notion that the congresswoman did not say that. And to just go on national TV and tell a lie as if a sitting congressional member is threatening the life of an unelected bureaucrat is not the truth. She did not do that. And so Pam Bondi told or said to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to tread lightly. I don't know what that means, but it sounds very threatening to me. Tread lightly, because she's talking about Elon Musk. So it's just really alarming to me that we are still stuck in this bubble of trying to go high when these people are in the pits of hell, the very pits of hell, creating all sorts of barriers to true freedom and liberation for all people. Because the America that they envision is led by wealthy white men whose white wives will just follow lockstep in what they want, vote how they want, speak how they want, demonize people how they want. And if you don't fit into the mold of that, then you are an enemy of the state. And they treat you as such. And even if you happen to be white and wealthy and you speak up against that, you are then become a target. Because to me, it seems like this whole presidency is a revenge tour. It's about making certain that he can flex his power against those people who did not vote for him, did not support him, spoke up against him, did not side with him. That's what this seems like to me. And I think he has the support of a lot of folk in high places with a lot of money who also believe that people need to be put in their place, because they also envision the type of America that is just lily white and wealthy. And when I say wealthy, let's be honest about the origin of your wealth. They want to go back to that. They want to go back to, because they're still mad that they had to give up their slaves. That's what this is really about. You want to go back to owning people so that you would have slave labor. You don't have to pay them their value, right? You don't think they should have rights. That's the kind of America that y'all want to go back to. And that's what you're pushing for. That's why you're imploding civil rights all over this place. That's why you don't like diversity, equity, and inclusion, because it makes you realize that humanity does not have a socioeconomic status. And you seem to think that when you acquire a certain amount of money, it makes you better than the next person. No matter how you get the money, you don't even know what a bootstrap look like, let alone having to pull yourself up by one. That's the kind of America you want to go back to. When somebody disagree with you, you could just hang them for public consumption. Y'all used to take y'all kids out, take a blanket with you, sit down and eat food and watch people be stoned and hung. That's the America y'all want to go back to. But we need leaders who will not only say we're not going back, but will show you we're not going back. Because even whatever, y'all got all the wealth and all the power, whether ill-gotten as it may be, y'all got it. And y'all still unhappy. You're still trying to figure out a way to oppress folk. Y'all got the stolen land, and you're still not happy. Y'all have somehow tricked the world into thinking y'all institutions are prestigious, and you're still not happy. So I will go out on a limb and say nothing will make you happy until you eradicate any and everything that doesn't look like you, doesn't walk and talk like you, doesn't sound like you, doesn't present like you. That's what you want. But shout out to those leaders who are fiercely defending the Constitution, fiercely defending what America should be about. But y'all stay tuned. Up next for the Front Porch with Graylin and Kimber. But as far as the Good Morning Show and Dr. Ashanta White, we're going to see y'all tomorrow. But please do not forget to vote. March 29th is the last day to vote. And we're asking you to vote no across the board on all 4 amendments. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.